This situation is absolutely bizarre, and I didn't want to talk about it because who am I to question somebody's trauma? But there has been so many holes and flaws in the story that it's intrigued me enough to the point where I want to call them out and make this video. I believe if you go through something, you have the right to trauma dump on the internet and speak about your situation, but I also believe that there are two sides to every story, and regret does not equal assault. With that being said, we have a situation involving a Caitibugzz, a creator with 63,000 subscribers, who is accusing George Not Found, a popular Minecraft and streamer who has 1.15 mil subs here on YouTube, of SA. If these topics are uncomfortable for you to discuss or listen to, please click away now because I'm going to be diving right into it. It's important to note that since these accusations have come out, he has lost subs drastically. Caitibugzz released a stream March 9th detailing her encounter with George, saying they were all drunk and he took advantage of her in front of all their mutual friends in a hotel room, and really dove into the fact that she was freshly 18 at the time. She stated this happened at last year's VidCon and that George was 26 at the time of this happening. I just want to say that it is indeed an age gap, but Katie turned 18 June 2nd of 2023, and she recently turned 19 this year on June 2nd of 2024. And last year's VidCon happened around June the 21st to the 24th. Y'all, June is 6 months into the year, almost 7 considering that it was towards the end of the month, so technically she was about to turn 19 before this happened. She was acting as if saying she was freshly 18 would indicate that she had literally turned 18 like a few days prior to this incident, and that just isn't the case. In fact, Katie is considered a legal adult in most countries, and in the country they were in when this did take place, it was illegal for her to be drinking, which means she should have been able to be responsible for herself. I am not accusing or excusing any behavior, I just think it's important to get consent before taking steps. But again, the situation just is not what it seems. We're going to be watching her testimony stream, and we're also going to be dissecting it, and then we're going to be watching George's response video. Again, please form your own opinion moving forward, and please understand I am not in defense of either of these guys. I'm just simply here to call out the many inconsistencies with this story. I also want to point out the performative language she uses to describe certain instances, and wrote this testimony out in almost a fan fiction style script. Let's get right into it.
Not much happened that first night, just some drinking and talking at a table. The guy's friend had been passing flirts at me the entire night, but because he was the oldest in the room, we assumed he didn't know my age.
And she states in the same testimony, y'all, is that she put her age in her bio, so he had to have known how old that she was. But here, now she's saying, he was flirting with me, so we just assumed, all of us collectively assumed that he didn't know how old I was. You should have brought it up to him then if you were uncomfortable about it.
I was drunk in a hotel room with other people around me when it happened. Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch in front of everyone, and that his hand was inching further to places I hadn't asked for it to be. I was scared and I felt sick, either from the alcohol or from his touch. It didn't matter because my mind was a blur. It was the first time anyone had ever touched me. Later that night, when I left, I received Instagram DMs from him, and in my Instagram bio, in bold, was my age, 18, confirming he knew how old I was.
Again, it bothers me at the fact that she's saying I was freshly 18 when in fact she was almost 7 months into being 18, since there's only 12 months out of the year, you were almost 19, and then bringing up this power dynamic, how he had a power imbalance and he was more powerful than she was, when quite literally in any interaction that you're going to have with anybody in the world ever, there's going to be a financial imbalance, there's going to be a power imbalance, but that does not mean that that interaction is automatically should or is going to be listed as predatory. Again, if you would just listen to this for what it is, of course you're going to feel bad for her until you really start to see that the only evidence she provides is evidence she herself had edited and misconstrued in her own video, that when she made a response to this stream, she ended up saying, yeah, I did mess that up, so that is my fault, but yeah, we're not going to talk about it, but guys, he is a predator. Again, too, she was insisting on him abusing his power by using his basically subscribe count, in a way being the larger creator of the two, against her in a way to where she would feel obligated to allow him to do things it's uncomfortable to talk about. But then, y'all, she's really making it seem like just because he had a larger following than her, that makes him the abuser in the situation.
I figured that's just how things were, that was the price I had to pay to be there.
A lot of people were really questioning this, seeing some of the holes in the story and the inconsistencies that she had while talking about the situation. But when George uploaded his response video to the situation, he filled in all the blanks that she left out. When Katie uploaded this testimony video, y'all, she didn't provide any type of screenshots or evidence, anything indicating that what she was talking about was true by any means. It was quite literally just her reading a script that she had wrote in her notes section on her phone. But when George uploaded his video, he actually provided screenshot evidence and text messages between the group of what was actually going on behind the scenes, and showed the fact that she did indeed egg on the drinking game and was the one bringing it up, wanting to play it.
The thing that she talks about is how we insisted that she drinks more and that we insisted on playing drinking games when this isn't the case. And they had also been the ones that were asking to play the drinking games. So instead of us insisting that we play it, they were actually the ones that were asking us. And you can see that in the screenshot here. They had actually texted multiple times, specifically wanting to play this drinking game that we had played the night before.
At the time, all of us girls were already really drunk from the party we were coming from, stumbling and everything. There was more alcohol in the room, and we were encouraged to drink some more as they offered the bottles to us. They said they would join us in drinking and insisted on drinking games, and already drunk, I obviously
even Katie's own friend didn't have her back in the situation, y'all, because her friend had ended up making a stream detailing her side from the situation, from what happened that night. And regardless of Katie saying how they were so drunk getting to the hotel that they were stumbling around to get inside, her friend had actually said they didn't even touch alcohol, period, that night until they got to the hotel room, and that's when they actually began drinking.
Went back to the hotel, and that's where we came from. It was a 16-out party. No one drank. People claimed that we came to the hotel having already drank. We didn't. We went back to the hotel, didn't drink, went to their hotel room, and that's when we started to drink.
That's interesting that her friend said that, because in Katie's words, her and her friend were so shit-faced drunk getting to that hotel room that they were stumbling around, struggling to get inside. So that's very interesting that her friend even brought up the fact that, like, no, we weren't drunk at all. We didn't even touch alcohol until we got back to the hotel room.
No one drank.
Stumbling and everything.
Katie did mention in her testimony video, y'all, that they were on the couch together and that's where it took place. What she failed to mention is that they were already cuddling on that couch for an hour and a half prior to this taking place. She made it seem like they were just sitting there doing a drinking game and he just grabbed her tits out of nowhere or something. I don't know. But quite literally, they did a lot of cuddling, and it wasn't out of nowhere. He just so happened to place his hand on her waist while they were cuddling.
Before, we had previously been cuddling on this couch for around an hour, but I did place my hand on her waist under her shirt. The way it's phrased makes it sound like it just happened out of nowhere, when in reality, we had been cuddling for over an hour at this point, and it was not out of nowhere.
Katie ended up admitting that she did leave this out of her testimony, and she said a lot of the cuddling he may have felt was personal, but was just me being drunk. Everyone on the couch was doing the same thing, all drunk, close together, but I get it. I was drunk. I didn't think cuddling automatically meant it was to turn sexual. I didn't know it was an invitation. I wasn't going to push him off in front of everyone. He took it a step further in front of everyone. By y'all cuddling, and y'all, that's not the best part. Wait. They weren't just cuddling. She said, I mean, he was literally spooning me from my left as I faced a ghosty to my right. So she said that they were not just cuddling, but they were spooning for over an hour at this point whenever he decided to place his hand on her waist. That does not sound like an assault to me.
Nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch, in front of everyone. Out of nowhere.
It's not looking well for Katie, is it? If you have been spooning with this man for literally an hour and a half, because he says it was a little over an hour, him putting his hand on your waist isn't out of nowhere. Again, it's not an invitation to do anything sexual to her, but his hand on her waist, come on. She let him be flirtatious with him the first night without addressing her age. She said it was in her bio, so he had to have known. Make it make sense, but again, all the friends just assumed that he didn't know her age, but again, nobody brought up her age to him. And then the second night that they got together, she encouraged the drinking game, said, hey, let's do the same thing we did last night, then proceeded to cuddle with him for an hour and a half on the couch. But she left that out of her original testimony and just said that out of nowhere, in the middle of playing this drinking game, he just touched her, just put his hands under her clothes. And that's not the case. She also lied about the fact of her being freshly 18. She was almost 19 whenever this has happened. And she said the age gap was huge. He was much older than she was. Again, the age gap was only almost 19, 18 to 26. And she said that George was insisting on doing drinking games with them, whenever in fact they were all drinking together and having fun together, playing drinking games, all up on the couch together. And she did admit that her friend was dating the other guy that was there, and she just partnered up some with George that night. Again, if she was uncomfortable with the age gap, she should have brought up the fact that she was allegedly freshly 18. Everybody's been saying this, so I will too. Silence does not equal consent, but regret does not equal assault. But regardless of her giving consent to literally attend this hotel party, drink, egg on the drinking games, then give consent to spoon, cuddle up on the couch for an hour and a half, y'all, she's saying she was too scared to move, too scared to even breathe. And for some reason, nobody's going to know the reason why, she ended up releasing these text messages that was actually her own text messages, with somebody from that night texting her and saying, "Hey buddy, I wanted to double check with you that George didn't make you uncomfortable at all last night. I saw he was getting really touchy with you, so I just wanted to double check. Smile." Then right here now she's saying maybe, with question marks. Bro, I have no clue. Like, in the moment I was chilling, but thinking back on it, I'm sweating a little bit, but like, damn. Especially after verifying that he knew I was 18, and I also don't know if I was chilling in the moment because I was drunk. I don't know. I have to ponder on it or just forget about it because it's over with, LOL. So looking back on it in retrospect, she was saying that she was too scared to even move or breathe. But then here she's saying, yeah, I don't really think I was that uncomfortable. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I'll have to think about it.
Didn't speak or move. I remember being afraid to even breathe.
You can't say in the text messages that you was just chilling and then on camera say I was too scared to even move or breathe, because that just doesn't make sense. And here in the text she's saying, I don't know if I was chilling in the moment because I was drunk. Like, I can't remember. Like, her memory just ain't memorying now. But in the video, she was literally detailing every single second down to the T of what had happened that night. We talked in the beginning too about how she phrased stuff, how she worded things. She used very performative language that would really paint and detail a story. But even in her own text messages, she was saying she was foggy, she didn't really remember.
This every night and every morning, with every touch, I relive that room and painted a victim of a crime that I never chose. I felt dirty in a way that I couldn't wash off. Ta-da! Gray striped long sleeve, Nike shorts, Calvin Klein sports bra. That's what I was wearing. I wanted to disappear, but I didn't, because I realized that this is a problem bigger than me.
No! God, please, no! No!
A forgiving world, because I hope it's not. I hope for every touch unasked for and every person belonging to that touch rots in this world unforgiven.